Please view the introduction to the Dealing with Skeptics series before viewing this presentation. In Part 1 of the Dealing with Skeptics series, we explored the question, is Shackley a pyramid scheme or any other kind of illegal scam? My mission was to get my wife out of her Shackley business. In Part 1, I found that Shackley is in fact a legitimate operation, and Shackley's multi-level marketing method is well within the legal guidelines set forth by the government regulatory agencies. These findings were a setback. I had to regroup. Being legal doesn't make it a good opportunity. I just haven't asked the right questions to find the flaws. In this presentation, I explored the question, if nutrition is so important, why haven't any doctors told me about it? By this time, I had enrolled a couple friends as investigation partners. Together, we went to the downtown Dallas Public Library to meet, brainstorm, and research. A significant development in our favor was gaining the assistance of the reference librarians on the 5th floor. Their interest in our project and research abilities took our inquiries to a whole new level. We had already come up with the question, if nutrition is so important, why haven't any doctors told us about it? One of the librarians suggested looking up how many doctors were actually trained in nutrition. She found a listing of all the medical schools in the United States. Further inquiry found the curriculums for each school. In 1982, only 14% of the graduating new doctors had the elective option of a short course in nutrition. 14% is not the number that took a course in nutrition. 14% is the number of doctors who had the option of taking a course in nutrition. At that time, I had a close friend who was in medical school. I shared my findings with him. My friend was studying to be a pediatrician. He reported that his school did offer an optional 9-week course in nutrition, but he opted instead for a course on early childhood diseases. Well, that made sense. We all want pediatricians to be well studied in early childhood diseases. I asked him where nutrition was on his priority list. For him, it wasn't a priority. He was already facing the difficult task of choosing between the elective courses specific to pediatrics. Besides, the prevailing opinion in his medical school was that eating a balanced diet was adequate. Lack of vitamin C caused scurvy, but scurvy is a rare disease, so people must be getting enough vitamin C in their diet. And the government has specialists working on fortifying foods as needs arise. Iodine is added to salt. Vitamin D is added to milk. That knocked out the rickets problem. Other food products help fill in whatever else might be needed. My friend also felt his coursework in biochemistry gave him an adequate background regarding nutrition. Then he put it into perspective a different way. I'd like to study lots of things, he said. Every day we scratch the surface on something new to me and very fascinating. And people spend their whole careers building expertise in that one area. The next day is the same thing, and the day after, and the day after that. There's so much I would love to study deeper. But the reality is, I have to set priorities and graduate as soon as possible. Medical school is very expensive. According to my friend, his priority was get the courses he needed to be a good doctor, but also to graduate in the shortest time possible. He had to minimize the potentially massive debt he was accumulating. All of his friends in medical school had the same priorities. Don't think I am doctor bashing. I am not. When you need a doctor, go to the doctor. And in defense of doctors, they see people abandon a course of treatment to instead try some unproven miracle product, only to return some months later with an advanced condition much harder to treat successfully. We all know there are people out there promising their product can cure the things you have. All they really want is your money, and they have no real regard for your health. How do you tell the good from the bad? It's no wonder why doctors even advise against anything but their own treatment plan. But as my friend in medical school clearly illustrated, his level of expertise in nutrition is limited compared to his level of expertise in pediatrics. He was satisfied that most people are getting what they need from their diet, and where need be, the government was fortifying foods. Obviously, one friend in medical school does not speak for all doctors, but I found his comments insightful. Couple that with the 1982 statistic, only 14% of medical students had the option of taking a short course in nutrition. No wonder my doctors never gave me nutritional advice. It was most probably not an area of expertise. And, as doctors and many people know, there's an abundance of bogus nutritional products and miracle cures that people should be avoiding. To bring this discussion up to date, in 2017, 35 years after I started my skeptical inquiry, there have been major advances in every field of science, including medicine and nutrition. Yet, we find less than 20% of medical schools have a single required course in nutrition and teach less than 25 hours of nutrition over 4 years. I guess it's just not important. To the skeptic in me, this was not necessarily bad news. Remember, my mission was to find the flaws in Shaklee, a supposed science-based nutritional research and health products manufacturer. My wife was a distributor. I was told it was a scam. The fact that the medical community was only marginally recognizing nutrition further convinced me that we really didn't need Shaklee or any of its health products. When I confronted my wife, Jude, with the evidence of medical community indifference towards nutrition, she reminded me, when she was losing her hair, the doctor said it was an incurable condition. She was destined to be bald for life. She was instructed to shave her head and start wearing wigs. As her condition worsened, she happened to get some nutritional advice to try a certain blend of Shaklee nutritional products, and within 2 weeks her hair was growing back. She reminded me that I was taking an alfalfa supplement for my allergies, and it was working as well as the OTC meds I took before, but without all the side effects I didn't like. Somehow the conversation was slipping out of my skeptical control. Instead of looking at the big picture, she was looking at these individual things. I needed to give her overwhelming evidence that on a large scale, nutrition and lifestyle are just not that important. My skeptical mind had to regroup. Shaklee may be a legal business, and most doctors are probably not a good source for nutritional information. And yes, there are some ways nutrition has made specific differences for us personally. But that doesn't make it a good business to get into. When you listen to the proponents of nutrition and lifestyle, it's so important and it's so missing. Then where's the evidence on a big scale? See Dealing with Skeptics Part 3. For my skeptical inquiry into the existence of large-scale evidence.